Hey guys, welcome back to Liquid Art. I thought I'd just create a little painting here for you, a fireworks painting to celebrate the new year. So I really hope you guys enjoy this, and remember, it's all designed for beginners. So here's everything that we're going to need today. First up, we've got our canvas board. We've then got 2 paintbrushes, medium and small, and a pencil, some kitchen roll, a pot of water, and then over here on our palette, I've covered it in cling film for easy cleaning, and we've got the colours black, white, yellow, sky blue, blue, and pink. You guys can of course use different colours if you want to. These are the colours that I'm going to go for today. So first up, what we're going to do is we're going to draw out our hill. So you're just bringing a line all the way across our canvas board. Just do this for nice and lightly. If you don't have a pencil, you can leave this step till later and we'll just paint across. And what we're going to do is we're just going to try and figure out where our 3 circles of our fireworks are going to be. So you don't have to draw this out yet. All we're going to do though is we're going to take our small paintbrush, give it a good wash and a little bit of a dry. And what we're going to do is we're going to start by using some white paint, and we're just going to mark out where our centre of our fireworks are going to be. So I'm going to do 3 main ones to start with, and I'm going to mix a tiny bit of that sky blue in. I'm going to do a tiny little bit of yellow in that as well to make a lighter blue. We're going to mix this first. We're going to use a white paint first, and then we're going to use that colour in a second. So just keep that in mind. So I'm just going to dab above our hill here. This is just going to show where the light is, and then we're going to go into doing these 3 circles for where our fireworks are. You could do 2 if you want, you could do even more than that, it's up to you guys. So I'm just creating this circular shape. Just adding that white in. And now I'm going to take that lighter blue colour and I'm just going to circle this one here. So I'm just bringing it around the edge of that white bit that I just did, and I'm going to slowly blend it together. And then adding a tiny bit more blue, and we're just going to go a little bit darker as we go round. But this time I want you guys to make a bit of a dashing motion. So I'm kind of using the edge of my brush to do this. And this is going to create our firework effect. So we're just going to add a few little lines going round. I want you to make sure this is going outwards. I'm now just adding a little bit more of a sky blue colour to this, doing the exact same motion of just pushing outwards with this paint and just creating this effect of the paint kind of just spreading out and going from the circle here. So if you're going to use a different colour, you can of course like do a yellow firework or a red firework. You do the exact same thing, only using the different colour. So we're going to do this for each of our fireworks. So this is going to be my blue one. We're then going to do a bit more of a pinky purple one, and then more of a purple one. That's the plan for this. So when you guys are ready, give your paintbrush a really good wash. I'm going to go on to my next colour. So what I'm going to do here is take some white and some pink and mix it together and use a really nice light pink, doing that exact same motion of pushing out around this circle. And I'm going to use a little bit more of a pink again and just push all the way around. Don't worry if you meet your blue a little bit. We do want them to blend a little bit, so just make sure that the colour has mixed together slightly. So now I'm going to go on to my next one, and this time I'm going to use a bit of a pink to start with. And then I want to make a purple, so I'm going to use my pink and my blue. If you don't have a pink colour, if you're using a bit of a red, just make sure it's a slightly different tone to what you've been using before. So just adding this round for now. So what we're going to do is we're going to build this up. What we're going to do is we're going to make these colours, we're then going to do the background, and then we're going to add parts of the firework in a bit. So now I'm going to use a darker purple and I'm going to go around each of these today. So this is going to be more of the edge. And these don't have to stay as perfect circles. It's a firework at the end of the day, so it can sprout off in different areas. I'm going to use a bit of a purple down here, and I want to add a little bit more white to this bottom bit here. This is going to be where our fireworks kind of came from, so we want to have a little bit more light in that area. Nice. So we're just using that purple as we go round. So you're still just using that same purple going around each of our fireworks, and then what I want you to start doing is pulling it a little bit more into these colours that we've already used, so into that fireworks, kind of the reverse of what we did earlier. We're going to use a smaller brush in a minute and we're going to bring it a little bit more in, but for now I just want you to keep going around with this purple, and then we're going to go a little bit darker in a second. So now we're going in with a bit more of a darker purple, and I'm just going up to these edges. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a much darker purple in a minute, but we're just going to build on that for now. So just bringing it over the edges of what we've already done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to mix a much darker purple this time. So I'm going to use my blue and my pink again, and then I'm going to take some black. This is going to create a much deeper purple, and what we want to start doing with this is really kind of creating that dark sky. So we're going to paint over the corners here, and we're going to bring it right to the edge of the colours that we've made in our firework. So we want to use that purple that we've already put onto the canvas to really link up and break up the colour between our fireworks and the dark sky. That's why we did so many different layers of that purple colours. So you're just going to keep building this up. We're going to take a smaller brush in a bit to really pull these in a little bit more so the dark sky covers it a bit better. But for now you're just going to cover this up. Keep using your medium paintbrush, and if you guys want to blend it a little bit more, I did a bit of a dabbing motion here just to work back over that purple that we've already done, or you could wash your paintbrush and blend it if you want to as well. So now guys, the next bit we're going to do is we're going to work in between using this dark purple to cover up the background, and we're also going to work with a smaller paintbrush and that same colour to work into our fireworks a little bit more. So all I'm going to do here is wash my paintbrush. I'm just going to use some of the water and the paint that's already on our canvas to work into the firework. So I'm just doing a few little lines, bringing it towards the center of that firework color. You can just add more paint to it if you want to, but literally all I'm doing here is using some water and the paint that I've already put on the canvas. So you just bring in a few lines in. So back with that small one, just a few lines, just pushing that paint inside the colour of this firework. Just make sure you do it all the way around, and what we're going to do is we're going to build this up and do this for each of our fireworks. This is going to help when we put our white of the actual firework onto this. The dark that we've put underneath is really going to make that white pop out. Good, so now we're doing the exact same thing but on this top firework here. Just make sure you're working around in that circular shape, and you want these lines coming towards the center but not actually meeting it. Good guys, so now this should be looking at kind of this level of play. So you just want to make sure that your lines have come in nicely and you've got a bit of a background going on. If you need to blur anything out, just wash your paintbrush and rub it in. It will blur it for you and blend. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my black with a bigger paintbrush and I'm just going to paint our hill here. So I'm just going to using a black line and I'm just going to cover down this bit here. Just filling this in. We will go over this bit again later on, but we're just going to do it one coat for now, and then we're going to go back working into our fireworks. So before we get started on our actual fireworks using the white, I'm just going to do a little bit more black around the edges here, just to really darken that sky, especially towards the edges. So I'm just adding a little bit more black in with the paint that's already on the canvas board. You guys can use a bit of a darker purple if you want to as well, but the black will work really well and it will work into the purples that we've already used. So right now I'm just using a clean brush and I'm just bringing a bit of that black over this purple here. You can use your finger to blend it if you want to, or you can just keep using your paintbrush. And now I'm just washing that paintbrush and put it to the side. So now I'm going to get started on our actual fireworks. I'm using a clean paintbrush, my smaller one with some white, and what we're going to do is we're going to start from the center of each one of these and we're just going to pull some white lines all the way out. Now you want these to curve, you don't want them to be straight lines, and you want them to all be kind of going a bit of the same direction and then they change halfway through. So we're just rounding these out. So you might need to change your water for this. You might want to do, I did 2 coats for this, so I did this one first and then I came back to it later on, just to make that white really stand out. If you find the paint is too wet underneath and it's just mixing, if you want to pop this video on pause and then go and use your hairdryer or just leave it to dry for a little bit, acrylic paint dries really fast, it will help this process work a lot better. So I'm still just going around with this white and I'm just bending these around just slightly, and I'm giving them kind of the same length, but some of them are a little bit longer than others. So it's totally up to you how you want to do this. You could have some broken parts in there if you want to as well, but we're just bringing these lines all the way around. So now I've started to curve them a different direction. So I'm just rounding them out a little bit more, just to make it look like it really has exploded. So whilst you're doing these, just make sure you're coming away from that center point or you're pushing out in towards it. It's entirely up to you. You can change your way of doing this if you want to. Just make sure it is going to that one point in the center there. So this is already starting to look a lot more like a firework, which is brilliant. And for our next one, what we're going to do is we're actually going to do it in the middle here. So I'm just going to start one just in this spot here and slowly bring some lines out. Now when you do this, you can of course add more if you want to, you can do less, you could skip this one if you want, totally up to you guys. I'm keeping this as 4 and this one in the center here. And the reason I've started with this one and then I've gone on to the next is so that these ones are further behind, but when you do the ones that are next, they're going to be more on top. So if you want your very top firework, the pink one at the very top of the canvas board here, if you want that one, to be the center. If you want it to be kind of the one that's most forward, you do it last. And now just down here, I'm just adding a few little lines, just kind of, this is where the firework came from. I'm just doing it here. You might want to make them a little bit thinner. It's entirely up to you guys. You're just going to bring this up. So guys, work at your own speed, but I'm just doing this one up here. Again, you just bring your lines out. This one, I tried to make some of the lines a little bit longer than the others. And again, just making sure they're nice and curved. You don't want to do any straight lines. And we're now on to our last one. We're just bringing this along here. And you're doing the exact same thing again. You just want to curve these lines round. So again, like I said before, you might want to do 2 coats for this. So I'm just going to leave this little bit to dry for now. I'm going to add one of these lines back in down here. So we've got kind of 4 going on. And then I'm going to work on the little bit of background kind of where I've just drawn these lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix a bit of a lighter purple and I'm just going to brush it down here. So I'm just doing a little bit, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little bit more water in a second, and I'm just going to paint over this bit a little bit more. It just kind of makes a bit more of a contrast for where the hill is to the background, which I thought worked really well. So I'm just adding this bit in here, again using a little bit more blue in here as well, and a little bit more water. This is a lot runnier than what we used before, and it's just creating a little bit more of a light in that background. And I'm doing the exact same thing on the other side, and I've gone along the top of that hill as well. It just shows a lot more of what is happening to the sky with the light. So I've done a little bit more up here as well. You may not need to do that bit if you don't want to. Lovely, so this should have brought your sky out with some really gorgeous colours. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go back over our hill just a little bit with the black, and then I'm going to do a few little kind of figures in the background as well that I'm going to use with my smaller paintbrush. So this should give your the white part that we've already done on the fireworks a little bit of time to dry, so that then you can go in and do a second layer to really make these fireworks pop out. You can see already with that little bit of purple that we did in the background how much better it makes kind of the silhouette of the hill look, and it just really shows that the sky is really glowing. So now I'm just going to wash my bigger paintbrush and put it to the side. I'm then going to take my smaller paintbrush. I'm just going to do a few little figures in the background. So now I've just taken a little bit of black on my smaller paintbrush, and I'm just going to do a few little dots here. They're just kind of a few little people. I've basically done like their shoulders and their body and then their head. So it's kind of a longer dot with a tiny dot on top. You could make this so that like a cat is in the background or something. You could do the year if you wanted, totally up to you. Just doing something a little bit quirky so there's kind of someone watching these fireworks. So yeah, so I really hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget to do some more of the white to go over the fireworks just to make them really pop. And with that, we are done. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. We'd love to see how you did, and please like and share this video. Hope you guys have a lovely new year, and I'll see you soon.